Oh man. The whole point is to share it on here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Embarrass the shit out of yourself.
Keep the conversation, as random as possible.
And you're doing a fine job on your end.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JG's Lounge. We're back with another episode of StarrDumB. Man, it's been a little while since I've done an episode. I was just talking about that before we went to live today, but you know what? It don't matter. We're always going live on here. We're always having a good time. And, we got a few people with us today. We all know my buddy here, Sean Shank, the admin of the show, to the network as well. How you doing, man?
Doing real well. Just getting prepped for my. I would love to say I was doing a bunch of cool entertainment stuff, and I was a little bit talking to some comics earlier, but actually I spent most of my day getting ready to teach college courses. So it was kind of a boring day. Not bad. So I'm all right.
Boring is good sometimes, though, man. There's days where I don't leave the house, and these are very rare. And I'm like, man, I cannot believe I stayed in the house all day, and it feels good.
Yeah, I did a lot of cleaning and whatnot today because I work at Amazon Filling Center, and it's going to be busy the next few days with sales and stuff like that through Amazon. So I did all my housework today. I got to go in tomorrow, fill out Amazon orders all day. But yeah,
you do it on a Sunday.
So yeah, we're not open on Saturdays, but we are open on Sundays. We do fill them out, and then we have Monday off because it's Labor Day, and then it's going to be a living nightmare going back in. So yeah, not looking forward to that. So I did all my housework today. So
that's good, man. I've been doing some housework. We had a place that's sitting in the garage for like 2 years. Finally got it put up. It's been like 100 and some degrees outside, so it's hard though, man. But you know what, Evan, geez. Man, why don't you give everybody a little bit of shout out on what you do and who you are? Like I said, we've kind of been in touch for years now. This is the first time we've ever done anything. So why don't you let everybody know who you are and what you do, man?
So I run Beer Pirate Radio. It's a college rock and talk radio station. I also do podcasting. One of them is the School of Martian podcast on Justin Nominee TV. And then I do my podcast, the Bogart podcast as well. Started that back in 2016, had to put a pause on it. And now like 2 years ago, we started it back up. It's going great. And I love college rock and, everything about it. I always wanted to do my own radio station. So,
you say college rock.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's not a genre of music. So why don't you go into a little bit more details what you mean by that?
College rock, like pop punk, old punk rock. Just basically, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I don't even know how to explain college rock basically, but it's just just old punk rock,
music
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
How do you define old, my friend? Because like you say old, and I say, oh yeah, like the Misfits and Gigi Allen and like crazy old punk, and you're like, no, like 1990s Everclear. Oh,
yeah. So we play early 2000s to now pop punk and punk rock.
Okay.
So we throw in like Green Day and stuff like that. So yeah, right. I know, man.
He's gonna have a heart attack.
So
you're not, Sean, you're not that much older. I mean, I'm Evan. I'm guessing the beard hides it. You're probably what, 19, 20? Just kidding.
Yeah, I wish, man. Maybe a couple more beers and I will be.
Sean keeps it clean cut, so he has that baby face, but he's really like 75.
Yeah, I feel it. My back is 75, but my imagination's about 19 or 20.
Right. No. We're all. I don't know. Are we all about the same age, Sean? I don't know. We've never really discussed your age. How old are you?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, in Hollywood, I am a sharp 33 years old.
I don't think I've ever just. Yeah, I'm 36, man, but I feel like I'm 48.
I always tell people that I'm 30 something. I never tell them my real age. I'm just, I'm 30 something, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
but I'm 36 as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born the day after Christmas, and that sucked. So,
Oh,
I'm a December baby myself, December 5th. So,
yeah, okay.
ugh.
so bad for you, man.
Yeah, it was always either a birthday, I got presents, or Christmas. It was
Right.
never, I got both. So I had to pick one or the other, you know, and it sucked, you know. But when I was younger, I used to get both. But now I don't even celebrate my birthday anymore. I mean, it's just another number on your
And
life,
that's good.
really. So
I'm usually working on my birthdays, to be honest.
I worked on my birthday last year, so
Yeah.
probably going to work on it this year. So,
Yeah.
but
Sean, man, you got taking the weekend off, so that's kind of nice, man. Just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, well, I mean, my taking off is not the same as other human beings taking off, man. Like I've got I've got 4 jobs,
Right.
And so I had to step away from. I mean, like I did a show, I guess Thursday night down at Crackers in Indy, but man, I had to take a few days because next week I'm teaching 7 classes at 2 different colleges this upcoming semester, and I've still got a full tour schedule with the stand up and the podcasting, and now I've signed on with a agency for TikToks now, so I'm having to do that every day, which actually
That's
hasn't
kind
been
of cool.
It hasn't been that hard. I was wondering, I mean, my God, what will I do for content? But then I rediscovered within myself that I can't shut up. So I have all kinds of stories and shit I can talk about.
It's weird how TikTok works, man, because it's like the most random stuff takes off, and and what you've been doing lately has just been random stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I told the story of my how I used to be. I worked in the adult industry where, and before before you go all the way that direction, I was a lead writer for a sex toy, one of the largest sex toy distributors in the world. And so, if you would ever read like a description for the Master Vagina Blaster 5. I was so impressive. Yeah, no, it was a cool gig, and I did it for a couple years, but it was just they started selling some things that were even too far for me. And I'm not going to say what they were, but just let your mind rest on that, where it's like, I have barely any filter and my line is so far out there. And when you go too far for me, it's like you've got some problems. But while I was doing that, I was also gaining traction online as a comedic adult noir author.
Okay.
And I had books on Amazon and everything, and it was all pure comedy. Like it wasn't, like, oh, she heaved her breast into his face, and like taking myself seriously. Like it was ridiculous. And I was getting a pretty big fan base, and I had a lady, and you've seen the needlepoint before, the Wreck My Pudding Trench.
Right.
So she sent me that needlepoint, and, I saw it today and go, you know what, I'm going to tell the story of that. And so I did. And it's even after like just a hot second when it was on, I was already up to like 150 views or something. So it's like,
yeah,
okay.
I see posts for like the TikTok stuff, but I don't know how real any of that stuff is, man. So as far as like an agency to work for, that's kind of cool though.
Yeah, well, the one that I hooked up with, they actually reached out to me through somebody that is very well established, like a friend of mine. He's got, 3 million plus verified followers and everything.
Wow.
And it was somebody associated with him, so I knew it was legit. And I don't know what the formulas are. I am just getting on there and putting stuff on there, and if it works, cool. If not, hey, whatever, dude.
Yep, I hear you, Evan.
I use a lot of AI generated clip makers. I worked in advertising for 8 years, and AI ruined advertising forever. I was making big money, with these advertising people, and when AI came around, it just crashed the market for advertising.
Mhm.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
worked with like Asian Air, Blue Cross Blue Shield for the insurance companies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just remember the email that they gave me was like, basically AI is coming around and we're going to do some layoffs. And I was unfortunately one of the people that got laid off.
Mhm.
Definitely use AI, for like clip making and stuff like that for TikTok and I don't know, but
Did you guys see what that said?
no,
Says you got to eat a ghost pepper wing with no water nearby. You want views? There you go.
Oh, dude, I'll
Thanks.
straight up eat a ghost. I'll eat a ghost pepper. I have no fear with
I've
that.
done it. I did
yeah.
we did the ghost pepper, or we did ghost pepper noodles, and then we topped it off with the toe of Satan sucker, and we did that live with
Yeah,
the
I've
hot
seen
sauce
those.
boss, who's got like 3.5 million, 4 million subscribers on Instagram, and I met him through Wee Man from Jackass. So he came on. We bought a few things from his store, and then we did a show. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, hey, speaking of that, tomorrow we're doing a hot dog challenge on here at 7:30.
Did you guys see the Joey Chestnut and with the other
On
guy
Monday.
that's doing on Monday? Yeah,
I didn't even know. It just happens to be the day after.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I don't know. They're betting on it. Like you can go to like those sport betting places,
Right.
and I was thinking about putting maybe $20 down, on Joey
No
Chestnut.
I didn't know
to
you
make
could do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they bet on everything now, and sporting, and I think there was a betting in the Olympics and stuff like that for a while, and then they
Right.
put an end to that because
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
I
It's
actually so Nathan's is the one that runs these competitions. So my brother-in-law and I decided, since we were going to do the show tomorrow, we're only going to do the Nathan's hot dog. So I was like, I'm going to reach out to them and see if they're interested in, just kind of helping us promote it. And they immediately sent back this like warning email about, don't do this. It's not safe. You need to have medical like help. Dude, it's a funny. I'm actually going to read it tomorrow during the show because I want
Not
to
to
make sure.
mention the fact that have you ever done in eating competition? I have. Okay, I have done competitive eating, and everybody gets all excited, like, "Oh, the food's going to be tasty, and it's a challenge, and they love everything." They don't think about the day after. Okay,
and it's
you're
Labor
not
Day,
thinking of your gastrointestinal tract. You're not thinking of your poor, cinnamon star that is just going to get ravaged the next day and the day after.
I'm already expecting to lose. I'm doing it for the fun of it. I'm gonna get 3 packs. So what's that? It's 24 hot dogs. And I'm gonna try and at least eat. I'm gonna try to at least eat 12 of them. I'm sure I can at least get 12, but I don't think I'll be the winner. I think the world record is like 76 in 10 minutes.
That's crazy.
Disgusting.
Like,
it's disgusting.
You just got to think of the aftermath of that, like all those. It's gonna be bad, bro.
Yeah,
I do it for the thrill, man. It's fun.
Aside from your toilet battering escapades that are going to be coming up, one thing you talked about earlier, that the AI thing, I'm curious about because you use it. I'm not a fan of AI. All right.
Okay.
I know there are some things that it's very useful for, but I guess I want to ask what your opinion of it is in kind of the overall sense of what we're looking at down the road, because AI, and you work at Amazon, right? AI was supposed to do that stuff. That's what the imaginings were for AI, is that it would do the jobs to free us up so we could create music and poetry and art and everything else. And now AI is instead creating poetry and music and art, and we're still tasked with doing the menial stuff. It's like it's upside down world. So
yeah. So like, was it the actors or whatever? They were going on strike because of the AI stuff. And
yep.
So I mean, and then they came to like an agreement and stuff like that. But I think AI can be useful in some things, and poopy on the other side. I lost my job because of AI. But
Yeah.
it's just it helps with the time. Like I do it because I don't have a lot of time in the day. I
Yeah.
work a
Right.
full-time job.
Right.
I push one button and it comes up with 100 clips that I can upload instantly. Oh geez, my alarm just went off for some odd reason. Um, so I mean, I mean, yes, I see how the downside of it, the art of creating something is going to be disappearing and stuff like that because of AI. But I mean, you got to look at it the other way. Like we can use AI for like medical reasons and stuff like that to like save lives and stuff like that. Let's say someone had a heart attack and you got to find the symptoms of the heart attack. You just look it up on your phone, the symptoms, and AI could tell you what to do basically. And like I mean, I'm not really good at explaining what AI does and stuff like that because I only use it for
Yeah.
clip stuff. But
Right.
I imagine there's benefits to it and stuff like that. So
I can see. I see both sides. I think it's the scary part of it is how attached it is to every one of us and through the internet. So like if it can find our information and do whatever and twist. I mean, think about all these people who are trying to sue people for using AI to generate songs that sound like them, even though it's not them.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, and I think AI is going to get to a point where it's developing itself so fast that we won't be able to like get under it without pulling the cord kind of thing, if that makes any sense.
yeah. I mean,
Skynet.
but no, it's funny because I used AI to make a Johnny Depp say "Welcome to Beer Pirate Radio," and it sounds so real. Like I put in a little sound effects, and
Uh-huh.
it sounds so real, and
Right.
and stuff like that. To use. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. AI, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, you're going to have so many people that are going to be like, oh, well, actors are not going to be able to act anymore because they're just going to type in a sentence for an actor to reenact and stuff like that. And then they're going to have like these automatic actors and stuff.
Right.
So,
What you?
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. What's up, Sean?
Well, our a viewer of ours who's throwing some questions and ideas at us asked a very
Yeah.
good question, to which I would say no, absolutely not. I would not, because I have seen the movie Total Recall, where I saw the Johnny Cab go batshit crazy and almost kill Arnold Schwarzenegger because he refused to pay the fare. So to answer your question, no, hell no, never.
A driverless Uber. Yeah, no, I don't think I could do that. I think the idea of a car that drives itself is scary and is to me. There's a movie called or a new. It's not really new. Have you seen the series Upload on Amazon Prime?
Mm.
No.
So this guy's in one of those auto ones, and then like his girlfriend or something like basically programs it to just dead stop in the middle of the road, and he like dies on
Ooh.
impact. And it's just scary, like the kind of things that if people can hack into that, people can hack into everything, man. If it's that a smart car, I mean,
Well, look at the Kia Boys. The Kia Boys in where I live in Rochester. All they did was, use a USB, little key, and they could steal any Kia, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, they're getting crazy.
they are. Sean, have you used anything AI before, or have you like messed around with it at all?
Okay, so the only thing I've done with AI to this point, because as I said, I've been very much against it, and part of that comes from what I said earlier with it should be doing the menial tasks for us, right? But it's also, as I teach at two colleges and I teach creative writing in English, and writing is one of our primary forms of communication, and these students are trying to take the easy way out by using Chat GPT and all this other stuff, completely missing the point of being there, right? And they're looking for that easy way out. So I take great umbrage with any of these programs where people are saying, well, just do this and turn the paper in. It's like, why waste your money? But
Right.
the one thing I had I have done is a comic out of New York. His name's Davin Rosenblatt. You know Davin. He and I have been working on a script for 2 years, and we had to create what's called a pitch deck. I don't know if you guys know what that is,
No.
but it's basically like a small presentation slideshow type deal that you send it off to, you know, producers and networks and things, so they can get like a visual representation of what your show's about, right?
Right.
Stranger Things had one called the Montauk Project, and it's considered like the Bible of pitch decks. And if you look how they put theirs together, you can see why it became a hit show, right?
Right.
And there were some images, because Davin's life is so crazy that unless you got an animator, and we paid an animator to do some of the pitch deck, some of the stuff is just so crazy that I had to turn to AI to create the images, because it was just, how else do you do it unless you get an animator? So I used
Well,
it for that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but what was I going to say? Now, when I did working in advertising, I used to make like flyers for insurance companies, and you know, I used to make them. But now these companies are using these AI things, and literally one click, it will have a whole pamphlet ready to go for print. Yeah, I mean, it sucks because, like, you know, a lot of people you know, lost their jobs because of it. And
do you remember you remember there used to be a website you could go to for school, and if there was like homework that you needed done and you forgot to read that book, you could go to this website and it would summarize the whole book for you.
Cliff Notes something.
Yes. Yes.
Cliff.
Do you remember in high school using those at all?
Oh yeah. Yep, Cliff Notes. Oh yeah, I never read the book back in high school. Like, it was just Cliff Notes. It was but then the teachers kind of got creative, and they were like, well, you know, they would pick it in the middle of the chapter, like a question that you wouldn't think they would ask. And and I would always fail, and you know, it sucked. But yeah, Cliff Notes. Yeah, it was it used to be a book that you can buy, but then like some kid created a website and put all the Cliff Notes onto the website. And yeah, man. Well, the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest. Nah, I never read that. I just
never read it.
I just looked up the Cliff Notes, you know.
Sean, you being a teacher, I'm sorry, I know you got something you want. Being a teacher, have you had any experiences where you've caught like a student blatantly just like copy paste?
I have had more than one time students turn in papers where at the top of it, it says, you know, something to the effect of, put in a more specific text request if you want the generated whatever it was to be more specific about the thing. You see what I mean? It's like, it was nice basically telling the kid, like, you have to be more specific if you want a longer paper with more detail. And they didn't go in and erase that before they turned the thing in. So, you know, it's disappointing to me because I think people are missing the point. You know, I know life is hard. It's hard for people, and they do want to get through things quickly. But, you know, if you've ever seen that movie with Adam Sandler, I think it was called Click.
Yeah.
Okay, so we saw the result. Like, he loved fast forwarding through all this stuff, right? But then we find out at the end, you know, in the denouement, that it was a complete mistake, because life is about the journey, and it's about growth, and it's about experiencing those things. And if you go through this life trying to do everything on fast forward, and this isn't a knock on the Cliff's Notes, because, brother, I used them too, but I used them back when we had the books that had the yellow and white, you know, safety, oddest design for a Cliff's Notes book, but whatever. I used them too, you know, but I also learned that, like, we have got to experience this life, right? Because that's the point. If you don't accept the journey and accept the growth and experiencing these things, then you're just you're on autopilot. And then what are you doing? Like, seriously,
Well, that's my fear with AI. I think that so the movie Wall-E. You guys familiar with the movie Wall-E?
Yeah, absolutely.
My girlfriend made me watch it.
It's like that's like it's scary because it feels like that's the direction we're going as humans. I had a total different topic for the show, but I'm loving this AI chat and like kind of the comparisons between high school and now. So let's keep talking about it. But I feel like AI is leading us in a direction to where tons of layoffs because we don't need them.
Oh yeah.
So everybody's going to be using their phone for everything. I mean, literally, you can get anything on your phone right now. I mean, in high school, I remember, first off, before even having any kind of technology, but then they had like the Palm Pilots. I remember when the Palm Pilots came out, like these little handheld devices that look like our phones now.
Yep.
And like
Yep.
teacher, and then I remember teachers like trying to learn how to Bluetooth or pair devices to send homework to you, like old school, internet.
Wow. Yeah. I remember the TI-83 calculators. We would program the answers into those and then use those on the math class. Like, it was so easy. You just like plug it into whatever and then just, put all the answers to the quiz onto the TI-83. And and we just used to cheat that way all the time. There was another, so the internet was just getting started, right? When I was about in 7th, 8th grade, and they started doing online quizzes, and she wanted us to print out results. So I used to bomb them all the time. I would get like 50s, 40s on them, and so I found the font. And put a piece of tape over it so it'd say 100, and then photocopy it, and then hand that in. And it would always say 100. And I used to do that all the time too. I mean, kids are gonna find ways to cheat the system and cheat education. Especially talking about AI. There's AI Answer where you can just like highlight a question and AI will answer it for you. Like students are going to colleges to learn and stuff like that, but they're kind of cheating themselves because they're using all these AI stuff to answer questions and stuff like that. So I guess it's like the kids are cheating themselves. So.
Right.
It's like stolen academic valor, man. Like, look, I'm a Hopkins dude, right? That's where I got my graduate degree, and so my umbrage with Stanford is not just a competitive one, but Stanford's been at the forefront of stupidity for the last many years, like when they were getting rid of the wrestling program. And now they're getting rid of their creative writing professors and lecturers. And you know why? Because AI is out there and the computers can create for the kids. Just like you said, they can put the stuff in and they can write the stories for them. It's like, are you kidding me? Some of the greatest stories that we have come from creative writing and the passing down of stories and legend and everything else throughout human history. But now, because we're just hucking it over, foisting our ability to do this onto computers, people are just like, oh, I'll just have the computer do it. Okay, so basically you're letting it steal the soul of humanity. All right, fair enough. If that's okay with you, by all means, let it do it. But I don't think we need to allow the heart of our society to be sucked into a machine for convenience sake.
Right.
It's crazy.
It is. And when technology crashes, man, we're all majority of the population is screwed. How does Sean feel about using someone using GarageBand or Pro Tools to create a song using a digital drum, brass, or woodwind instrument instead of playing the instrument?
That
I feel like I don't know. I got an opinion on that, but you first. They were asking you.
I love that question. And I'll tell you why. That's a tough one because if, say, you're a master of the guitar, all right, you're fantastic on the guitar, but you can't find somebody to drop some beats for you, right? You just can't find percussion. I don't hate that idea, right? Because you're already creating. But where I take umbrage is if somebody says, all right, AI, write a song about, I don't know, somebody ate my dog and stole my wife, some country ballad, right? And they plug this stuff in with nothing else but just the ability to type the same thing I could do. All right.
Mhm.
This basically what this boils down to is the same effect as what we got from that Australian breakdance and Lady Ray gun. All right. The reason people got pissed off was it wasn't just the corruption that she took part in to get to the Olympics, which is supposed to be the best of us. Right.
Mhm.
But it's the fact that, dude, I can flop around on the floor and touch my toes and make this snake thing on the floor. I can do all of that shit. And that's not what we watch the Olympics for. Okay. So that's the same thing with the AI. I can type into an AI music generator, make me a country song about how they poisoned my dog and kicked my wife, and then sit back and 2 hours later and going, I made that. No, the fuck you didn't, dude.
Mhm.
You didn't do shit. But if you're slapping down the bass, and you're slapping the bass and you're doing the guitar parts and you need to have a trumpet thrown in there, dude, that's cool. By all means, do it because you're in the process of creation. All right. It's the same as if you have a DJ, all right, that is taking all these pieces and they're doing, I got a buddy of mine, his name's Kevin. He's an EDM guy, makes beautiful music, and he writes his own stuff, but he layers. I mean, you talk hundreds of layers this guy has of different pieces that he puts together. But because he's in the process of creation, dude, I'm all about that. That's awesome. But he's taking an active role in it beyond just.
Yeah. Well, and I agree. So a good example, one of my shows I have is in the lounge where I talk to musicians. And I had a guy, Jeremy Groans, on. He's a vocalist. Well, he's actually the soul guy for the metal band Earth Groans. But he hires. So when he goes on tours, he hires the crew, but he creates all the music himself and he does the overlaying and all that. So he does blend a little bit of both to get what he wants, for sound. But it's impressive to see what they can do with it. So I do think there's strengths to utilizing it, but it's like anything. I mean, there's benefits to, let's say for work, FMLA, right? It's a Family Medical Leave Act. If there's if you need time off for medical purposes and it's covered under FMLA, nobody can touch you. Your work, you can't get in trouble for not being at work. But there's people that will get it so that they don't have to go to work. You know what I'm saying? So you got the people who use something because they need it, and they got people that are just trying to ride the social media train and think they're good shit, but they're really just faking it the whole way. So AI is such a toss-up.
So going back to the AI music, are we going to start giving Grammys to AI companies that make songs?
I think they will. I don't think that's fair.
It's a great question, dude.
That's a fantastic
question. So I mean, like all these companies that you can get AI to make a movie script. Are we going to give Oscars to the AI companies that do it? I mean, it's scary. It's a scary thing. But yeah.
What's up, Harold? Thanks for tuning in. Harold is the host of the M-Bomb Effect, so feel free to give them a check out.
Oh yeah, M-Bomb. What's up, brother?
Dude, yeah. I mean, we're getting really deep into this. I don't think it's fair to use that to get an Oscar or any kind of award. I mean, if you're going to use it, fine, but expect to lose that opportunity. I mean, but that's just my opinion.
Stolen valor, man.
Yeah,
it's stolen valor. It's just and that's why Tim Waltz is in so much deep shit right now because of some of this stuff that he's. And I'm not one side or the other I'm just saying, like, people take that very seriously, and because if it even smacks of something where you're like, oh, I was in combat, and then you find out that the person's not, that person's name becomes garbage. That's what the one TikTok guy, the ginger, what's his face with the missing tooth, he's gotten in a whole shitload of trouble.
Ginger Billy,
I think that's his name. Where he said he was
real ripped?
No, he's thick, but it's a name like that. But I mean, point being, it's people that attach themselves to something like that takes bravery and effort and concentration and time. Just like basically with what we're talking about now, with creating the music. It is, I was in choir. My dad was a musician for years. He played with like Styx and a bunch of bands back in the day, and he slaved away in front of a keyboard, for decades.
Right.
And it really meant something. And so for somebody that would step in and get a Grammy because they typed in write an awesome keyboard solo, what are we doing here? What are we even talking about?
What do you
It's
think,
like
Evan?
letting so this whole, it's a little off topic of the AI, but like so video games are getting introduced into sports and stuff like that. They consider it a sport. I don't think so. But now these AIs are making like video games. You guys hear about that?
Oh, no, I not obviously, but no, I didn't.
So they're making like these video games that basically I don't know. I mean, they're just designing video games with AI and then and then selling them for $50 a pop, and it probably only costs them, I don't know, probably like $100 to use the AI service and stuff like that. So
Right.
I mean, but it's I don't know. It's just like the letting computers and stuff like that, get into sports, and I mean, I don't know. Technology is now becoming our lives.
It is.
Everything we use is coming our lives.
Your glasses now are coming out linked to your phones, and like you could literally have. I got a friend who uses the new Ray-Ban, has like the camera and the video call and the recordings, and he literally will take phone calls and on the glasses, and he like look stuff up while he's walking down the street talking to you on the phone all through his glasses. It's like the craziest shit, man.
Yeah, and how do we know who's crazy nowadays with that shit? Used to be when somebody talked to themselves walking down the street, you're like, yeah, stay away from that person. Now they just might be on a call.
Yeah, Amazon is doing now is they're having the glasses, and they actually look at an item, scan it, and to tell where it's going and stuff like that. So they're going to start wearing glasses in Amazon warehouses and shit. And they do inventory by just looking at a shelf and shit. Yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, see, it's clever.
It is clever. But there's a lot of money. Like, you gotta buy every employee like smart goggles just to tell that you have 10 bags of like cat food. Like, right. I don't know. I think it's kind of silly.
But do you think it's going to be a situation where they give all the employees glasses and cut a bunch of employees because they don't need the extras because now they got the glasses, so now they can make them do larger quantities in their shift?
I don't know. I mean, it's so hard. I mean, like it's because the working people now of America are getting technology use, and I don't know. Technology's crazy. But
it is.
I don't know.
What you got, Sean?
Oh no, nothing. I live out in the deep country, and I heard some screaming in the woods.
Coyotes?
Nope.
No.
Bigfoot.
Nope. Don't know. Look up anything on Appalachia. And at nighttime you hear screaming, whistling in the woods, somebody calling your name. You just, you hear it and you're just like, oh, that's nice. And you don't pay attention.
There's a whole docu-series on Hulu about like the Kentucky Goblins. Have you heard of that one?
Kentucky Goblins.
Oh, dude, there's yes, this like group goes to investigate these claims of these goblins in the mountains in Kentucky.
I thought the knot here of Kentucky was the strangest thing, but now they've got goblins, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Just look it up.
It sounds like someone in like having like moonshine, too much moonshine. They're like, oh, did you hear about the goblins?
Yeah, it was in my backyard yesterday. That fucking thing won't leave me alone.
I'm drinking like 150 proof moonshine, and I'm seeing goblins.
Reminds me of that old joke about the leprechaun in the bathroom, and the guy says, "Well, he said he was a leprechaun."
Did you guys see the leprechaun in the tree? It was like a news report.
In Atlanta, yes.
Yeah.
God, that was brilliant.
So this news reporter created this story about like a leprechaun in a tree, and all these people like in the city would migrate to this tree and look for the leprechaun. But I read the backstory to this, and it was just the news reporter making up like shit just to get onto the news. And he did like a follow-up story with it. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, and some guy, I remember some guy in a wife beater picked up some sort of connecting piece of it was like conduit, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Man, I found the leprechaun's flute. It's his flute."
Yeah.
That is one thing that
he said he was a relative to people in Ireland, but he was an African American man. So
that's kind of a prime example with like social media, though, man. People make up the craziest claims. A while back, there was a guy I saw on TikTok, and he kept going live, talking about the lake on his property boiling. And how he was airing it live streamed, and he kept showing these bubbles in his lake. It was like a year or two ago. And he was talking about how the government was coming after him, and he was running, and like he'd go live, but he wouldn't tell anybody where he actually was, but he kept asking for help. So like he was getting thousands of viewers built up over a couple weeks because he was talking about some cover up on his lakefront property, and like there's something in the ground. And then all of a sudden, he just stopped. You don't see him on TikTok anymore.
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff like that. Did you see the one where the guy, I think they were hiking out in Colorado or Utah, and they saw he has video, and it could be deep fake, I don't know, but of giants walking across the tops of like a mountain, and all of a sudden he's like, I think I'm not suicidal. I'm good. If I disappear, it's because I've had people following me. And then he just stopped posting. Like he came on a couple more times and then just stopped completely. Mm-hmm. That was a strange one.
It's not the way that layers and stuff when you're doing like videoing and animation. I learned everything myself, and I'm not great. I'm definitely not advanced by any means, but being able to like, I could take a video clip of a giant. Like I could do within 10 minutes of getting off here. I'm not saying that this guy was right or wrong, but I could easily in 10 minutes create like a clip behind me of these giants moving. It's just because these apps are so advanced now.
Then it's AI. Yeah, you can create a giant going, across a mountain. Click a button, AI.
Yeah. It's just, but it almost takes a whole new direction to the cry wolf, because when something happens, when something crazy happens in the world, and social media is blowing up about it, how do you know if it's real or not? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Well,
but Jerry Springer, when he died, like everyone thought he had a will, but it was a pre-recorded like a skit that he did. But everyone thought it was Jerry Springer's actual will and testament. And like I guess he had a kid with some other girl and stuff like that. But everyone believed it. It was on TikTok and everything. And it's just
right.
You got to think about what you see. You got to be like, it's like 50% true. I mean, right. You got to look at it that. It might be true. It might not be true. But yeah, it's like TikTok. They trick you to believing shit, and yeah.
Yep. And that's, I think that our government trying to shut down TikTok is because it's preventing them from keeping things hidden from us. But I also think that they're utilizing AI to distract us. Like, so let's say they get busted for doing something. How easy is it for them to just go, yeah, somebody just AI'd that.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Well, I mean, the government's been doing stuff to lie, to us for decades and decades and decades. I mean, in verifiable proof. I mean,
Yeah.
I always go back to and I've heard me say this before, jukebox, but the Gulf of Tonkin incident. If anybody needs to answer the question where the government lied to us for their own gain, just check out the second attack in the Gulf of Tonkin that got us into the Vietnam War. The Secretary of Defense straight up said, yes, that was a false flag operation. It's like, so how many thousands of people died because you guys wanted to lie about that, And
well, it's so easy to get everybody behind them if there was something done against us, like, oh well, they fake a story like, well, they did this, so we're going in and doing this. Like, it's such an easy way to get everybody on their side.
100%.
Did you guys hear about they wanted to put a general warning on TikTok saying that it's addictive? It's going to be like it's going to be like a pop-up screen. It's like, oh, general warning. TikTok is addictive. They like you see it on a cigarette pack, like the general warning. Like if you smoke, you're going to get lung cancer. But now the government wants to do is put warnings on social media where it's like, this is addictive. Like, you can waste an hour looking at cat videos and shit. So
over the last couple of weeks, I've been hearing on the car rides on the radio, I'm hearing ads for lawsuits against social media for causing traumatic problems with suicidal issues with kids and their teens and preteens. It talks about if you have any family members that have had any kind of crisis due to social media, like, you can contact them and get involved in these lawsuits that are going on.
Well, so with that, your parents let you use the phone and stuff like that. So, I mean, do you blame the parent or do you blame the child that's watching the TikTok? So, like, I don't know. I think it's like there's a certain age you should use social media. And like, I think at an early age, there's bullying, and so I think to tell you the truth, I think it should be 16 and up, my dog's drinking water over here. You can probably hear it. I'm thinking like 16 up, and if we had those general warnings, like I was talking about before, I mean, I don't think it would be a problem, but you got these kids going on like 8 years old, and
you see them in the streets now, man. You can be driving down the street and see groups of kids on, like, literally just doing dances on their phones or recording stuff, and it's strictly for social media.
And then you got some asshole that was like, oh, you look like a dork in that shirt, and it's like, I don't know, there's bullying anywhere you go. There's bullying. So
Yep, absolutely.
I do agree with you on that statement, because, like, you see kids in these carts with, like, their tablets and their headset and their headphones on, just so the parents can go shop without their kids harassing them. Like, I remember being that annoying shit when I was a kid, in the cart or grabbing the cart and shaking it and stuff. So, like, and people, like, parents are now going, oh, well, I can just avoid that and hand them this tablet, and then they get addicted to the screen, and they're watching these shows of parents recording their kids doing stuff. Like, it's the craziest shit, man. It just it blows my mind.
But the thing is, it's not just the addiction to the screens, which is, I mean, it's psychologically or physiologically, it's hitting the same pleasure centers that get kicked off when people use drugs and things like that. That this thing does the same stuff, right? But it's even more insidious than that, because people have started to discover that the algorithms and things we know are targeted towards people and all this other stuff. Well, now even the comment sections are targeted towards people. And a lot of people didn't know that, but folks were starting to notice where they'd be on, like, the same page, and it'd be like a girlfriend and boyfriend, and she would be looking at this thing where a couple was fighting, and all of the comments were like, yeah, the dude is stupid and he needs to, blah blah blah. And then the guys would be like, yeah, women are dumb, and everybody agreeing with like his perception of things, right?
Right.
So now it's like we are being manipulated down to the nth degree with this stuff. So it's not just the fact that it's capturing our attention, but it's manipulating our brains into thinking that, how the population is thinking and looking at things. And it's really, it's kind of not kind of, it is scary. It's very scary how this whole thing, but that's another example of AI, because if your comment section is utilizing AI, artificial intelligence to kind of suss out exactly what's going to impact you the most, that is complete manipulation of your thought processes and everything else, and it will manipulate you into how you view the world outside of it.
You talk about the comment section too. People are literally using chat bots to go in and kind of coax people into sending them like money and just, hey, send me the cash gun, send me this, and it's just random chat bot that you program into your live streams, and it goes into the comments like it's just another person trying to say, yeah, just go, show them some love, send them some money. And
do you guys want to hear a funny story real quick about those
of course, we're on
chat?
StarrDumB, man.
So back in the day, there was a text to speech. You text. Yeah. So we used to do all the time was take do like a bank account, and say that it was withdraw from my buddy's bank account, just like some random buddy. And we used to put it to the phone and use these chat to speech to pretend that someone like basically wiped out their whole savings. And then they'd be stressing out. They'd be like, "Oh my God, my bank account just got." We would be drunk and we would just pretend that that happened. So
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy how these AIs can manipulate voices and pretend to be someone else, like elderly people, it's bad. Like elderly people get tricked all the time with these AI people. They get robbed of their life savings.
Right.
Oh yeah. So.
All the time. I just watched The Beekeeper. Have you seen that one yet?
The Beekeeper.
I'm aware of the content of it. It's
all right. It's Jason Statham. I'm not. He's okay. He's not the best, but the storyline.
It's what Davin and Davin's Den, what they do, and so Beekeeper was basically the wet dream of the people looking at people that get scammed and what they think should happen, which doesn't happen. That's not how the world works.
Well,
is it on Paramount Plus?
Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus right now. Yeah, I just watched it the other day. It's not bad. I literally watched 3 days ago just to put something on while I was cleaning the house. But basically, this woman gets scammed, this old lady, and then it's just this multi-billion-dollar company of just scamming old people out of their money. It's literally who he's going after.
Yeah.
And what we got here? What does it say? Yeah, the scammer who took all Felicia Rashard's money. Yeah. But it's happening so crazy. And I think the hardest part for me is that those younger than us that didn't get to experience the advancement to where we are now, this is, I'm 36. This all started happening. I remember having a pager in, I think, 4th grade but pagers were phasing out. But I remember the regular Nintendo. I think the earliest memory I have, it was about the Nintendo, Super Nintendo time frame, and then just an advancement as I got older, and just the gaming consoles and AOL dial-up, experiencing all of that. We know that, but those that are younger than us really don't. So that it's scary where we are in such a short time.
Have you ever seen like the kids when they ask what how to hold a telephone, and kids go like this instead of this because we grew up, with the cord going to the wall, and
Yeah.
we would talk on the phone that way. Now kids they go like this because it's flat. It's a smartphone.
Yeah.
It's
What kind of
crazy.
psycho holds their phone like this?
Well, I mean, like,
you have to.
well, no, I mean, like, they're pretending it's like a phone. So,
Right.
I see what you're saying. It's just, I'm just imagining like, oh, I've got a phone call. Hello.
yeah, I don't know.
No,
But,
yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Kids at work that I work with, because when I was in high school, typing was just getting in, like using the keyboard, like, memorizing the keyboard. And I suck at it. I'm one of those people that like, chicken, I call it chicken plucking. And there's kids at my job that just like fly through when we have to do manual entry addresses. Like they'll just fly through the address. And I'm like, I'm here just going like this, like, okay, kids, I mean, they learn a lot of technology within the last, I would say, 10 years. Like 10 years has been like a big step up within technology in the educational system. So
Right.
Right.
They say they put it on a speaker and put the phone in front of them like it's a Star Trek communicator.
oh, okay, yeah. I guess you could see it that way. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. It's just the way it is now. Like kids are gonna, technology grows every day. It never rests. So I mean, like
doing this, like what we're doing now with the growth of JG's Lounge and kind of just podcasting and your radio stations, the advancement that we've done just to communicate with people. Like I've had people from around the world on, and just from setting up a show the day before, we couldn't do that in the past. But what happens when this crazy solar flare gets too close and technology's just gone? Our money's all tied up in it. I mean, everything's tied up by technology. And I'm using a natural disaster as an example because, I mean, it could happen. It really could happen.
I'll tell you what happens, buddy. You got to go work on these. You're ready for it.
Yeah, I'll get there soon. I'm the skinniest white dude in the world. My dad was skinny. I'm skinny. I'm goofy. But
nothing wrong with that.
I don't know.
But,
what's that?
But so there's nothing wrong with that, man. But what happens? I mean, the world's gonna 80% of the population is not gonna know what to do.
It's actually worse than just not. Preppers. I told you, very true, very true. But it's actually much worse than just people being confused. They've done disaster scenario breakdowns, and it generally, and I'm saying like 90% of the time, it all falls out the same way, which is the first couple of days, there's a lot of confusion and everything, but because supply chain and everything is going to get completely stopped, people are going to be going without food and water. And, this whole thing, especially in the cities, because in the city, you don't shop like you do in the country where you go in, and buy for the next 2 weeks, which is what I grew up doing, and prepping and canning and all that other shit that, we had to learn how to do. And so, people who can't get their takeout, their DoorDash or anything else that have also become conveniences, right? Mm-hmm. It's like within a week, you're going to start to see a real collapse of the modern society. And, you're talking a substantial amount of death and things, and it'll happen quick. It's not going to be a slow burn for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Now, let's think about it this way. Now, let's say every technology device crashed.
Right.
I think it would be in the society of living off the land, growing crop, stuff like that. I think I think we would be more living off the land if technology just
So
crap the bed.
you're talking about that small percent of people who view it that way, though. The people who don't even have the mindset to think for themselves because they're so addicted to these for the answers are going to
Yeah.
have no clue, and they're going to kill each other, and they're going to riot in the streets.
Because
So we're
they're
gonna
going to be going like, Siri, grow Pop-Tarts.
Yes. Why isn't my phone responding to me?
Yeah,
But seriously, though, I mean, who knows how to do those things? Like, I could probably figure it out. I mean, I've camped. I've lived out in the wilderness. Never lived out in the wilderness, but I did a lot. Lived in the mountains for weekends on end, which is nothing. But I think I could survive. But I think there's a huge population of people who would have no fucking clue.
Well, the older generation would, teach the younger generation how to do things, basically, like how society is now. The elderly teach the young. And I think that if technology crashed, we had all these farmers teaching the young how to do stuff. And, I don't know, man, I was never good at, this, technology crap.
Yeah. That says they all huddle around Starbucks waiting for the Wi-Fi to come back on. You want to know something funny, though? There are companies out there that are making like sales promos, and like the only way you can get the deals is if you're on their Wi-Fi network. So people have to physically go to one of their store locations and get on their Wi-Fi to get special deals on products.
That's creepy. I mean, it's a way to get them out there, but if they can get into the Wi-Fi and you agree to certain shit, they can take all the information that they want to from you. And there's this is insidious because did you hear about the thing with the whole Disney Plus account?
Yeah, Disney Plus.
What
happened there?
Okay, so do you know the story? Do you know the story very well?
I know bits and pieces, and I was so aghast from it.
This lady they were in Disney, and the lady made it very clear she had a peanut allergy. I cannot have any peanuts, nothing. And they're like, no, it's fine. You're going to be fine. Of course, what did they serve her? Had peanut in it. So she died. And the husband is suing Disney, and only for $50,000, $50,000. That's all he's asking. And their response is that he cannot sue them it's like the public court system or the federal court system because he signed up for Disney Plus. There's something in the agreement when you sign up for Disney Plus, the app on TV, to where you can't sue them in a federal court. You have to handle any issues like privately, and it's stated in their agreement on Disney Plus. So they go to Disney. She dies from eating the food, and they're like, "No, you signed up this subscription 2 years ago," basically saying you can't sue us.
Well, I could see the argument where, like, in the back of every theme park ticket, it's like you enter at your own risk. And if you get injured in the theme park, like, we're not liable for it. If you read it in any theme park ticket, you'll see it. But yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Disney Plus, huh?
Uh-huh.
Holy crap! But yeah,
Disney isn't bad enough ruining Star Wars and every other thing that they get their damn hands on. Now this guy's pouring. They specifically this is what's gross about this. They specifically said peanuts will kill her. Do not serve this to her. And they went okay, and then served her the stuff.
Right.
It's like I don't care how many clauses you've got inside of your damn Disney Plus or whatever. They specifically said don't serve this to her, and they still did.
Mm-hmm.
That's on you, bro.
He's asking for $50,000.
That's not even a lot.
That's nothing. That's
chunk change. That's chunk change to them. Disney.
It is. Like, it's not like an unreasonable amount. They easily could have just waved it off. It wouldn't even hit big news. But instead, they're making a point to let you know, like, hey, we got you by the balls. We can take your children. All those scandals about Disney, and people that come out about it, and it just gets swept under the rug like it's nothing.
Well, the scariest corporate juggernauts that's out there, and the secrets that are hidden under the pavement and everything of that empire. It's guys, gals listening to this tonight. These things we grew up with that we thought were so wonderful They're not.
Oh,
They're
dude,
not. I'm not even trying to be
there's
cynical here. It's just a fact. They're not. It's a lot of evil out there.
yeah. Well, Evan, what do you think about that? Do you agree that like big companies like Disney are pretty corrupt and I do. I think that they're very evil.
I mean, I could see the pros and cons of any business. You're going to piss off some people and you're going to make people happy. Like putting out a new Star Wars movie for snot-nosed kids to watch. I mean, and then there's always pros and cons to companies. I think the greed part of it is pretty crazy. Disney's a monopoly. All it is. It's a media monopoly. And they are, I don't know. They can get away with a lot of stuff that normal companies can't.
Right.
And I don't think that's right. I think every company should be equal. It's just because the money they have. They have it's a media company that's just in the billions. So
right.
But I don't know.
I do want to kind of start wrapping up here, but Sean, what you got, man?
Well, no, I think it would be funny to ask. So, what do you think about Amazon?
What do I think about Amazon?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Amazon. It's the most wonderful corporation in the world.
So Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Again, there's pros and cons. That Amazon can help small businesses. They can open up a shop, like a page on Amazon, and sell their product, which helps the small businesses. But you got these I don't know, like Amazon itself, I mean, you got Jeff Bezos or whatever. He I don't know. He just has so much money; it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think at the jukebox, I think this thing is going to hit the air, and then when it comes out tomorrow, he's going to be talking, and all of a sudden his face will freeze, and it's going to be a completely different voice going, "I love Amazon. They have the best products ever." And I would never say anything unkind about them.
They're going to AI generate you.
Exactly. You're going to be AI over.
Like your response about Amazon.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Amazon gave me a job. I mean, that's all I look at.
I agree. Dude, we use Amazon like crazy. I get Amazon packages every day.
Dude, I've got books on Amazon, so I'm not hating.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it comes in, like the pros and cons. Like, Jeff Bezos, he's a big douche, and it's just, and then got these small businesses that use Amazon for
well, and now you got
their businesses.
Temu going out there and they're blowing up.
We just did a podcast about Temu and Wish. When Wish Wish took 3 months to get your packages, and now Temu has local warehouses where they're selling the same stuff, but you can get it 3 days cheaper or 3 days sooner. So. So,
do you guys remember? I don't think it was I don't remember what program it was, but there's a big thing that one of the marketplaces was selling kids and by labeling them as armoires and dressers.
Yes,
and it was a couple years back.
Yeah,
and it was a big deal. Yes,
that was
and depending on how the description of the dresser or the armoire was the type of girl that you were wanting, and they were doing it through just a legit website. Obviously, it's sex trafficking. It's terrible, but that's what they were doing.
Yeah, and you knew which ones were the ones that were targeted with, or I'm sorry, not targeted, but it's children, because you would have an armoire in there for $400, and then you would have one for $14,726, and of course something's going on there.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things that clued a lot of people into what was going on. And it wasn't Wayfair, but it was like one of those.
It was Wayfair. You know what? It was Wayfair, and yes,
it was Wayfair.
Yes, it was Wayfair. It does sound like Pizzagate. Hey, thanks for tuning in tonight, man. I don't know who you are, but I really appreciate you being a part of today's show because and throwing in your comments. Some of them have been great.
Definitely.
Blurred Lines is another great. This is Sean's show. Blurred Lines, and he does a lot of conspiracy and stuff like that. So check that out too. And Sean, I think maybe we should talk about maybe stuff like this Wayfair and stuff like that, and get into some of that stuff.
I would be 100% down for it, because the thing is, the proliferation of sex trafficking, child trafficking. I mean, it's still crazy prevalent around the world. And, it's sad, because it's like we were starting to really tackle it, and then we just went silent on it. And like, man, that's a whole other rabbit hole. We're already an hour and 10 in, brother. So we'll go after it.
This has been a hell of a show, Evan. Man, I hope you enjoyed it, dude. I mean,
I did, man. I feel like I stumbled a little bit, but I'm still getting used to this live stream stuff, because we pre-record our episodes, and when we stumble, we can edit it out. So I mean, I felt like I stumbled a little bit.
Nah,
but,
you're good, dude.
You're great.
This is how we do our live streams, man. There's been times where we totally lose power, or one of us go down for 5 minutes. It happens. It's no big deal.
I've been drinking since noon, so
it's all good, man.
So.
It's all good. I'd love to have you back on again too sometime. AI conversation, perfect topic for tonight's show. We were going to talk about animals, so a little bit better. Sean, man, always fun, dude. You know that.
Absolutely, my friend.
And everybody that's been tuning in, we appreciate you guys. And next time, we'll see you around.